Welcome back to another fantastic episode of I'm Gonna Water, and you're gonna listen. I'm your host, Chance Paladin Dean. Oh, and there's the AC. The AC's like, he's out here, let's go. Uh, I'm gonna fertilize this weekend. Oh, there's 1, 2, 3 zucchini. That little piece of zucchini broke off. Okay. Zucchini, alright, the zucchini are finally doing something. And I swear I saw some little itty bitty tomatoes starting. I don't see them now though. But we've been getting cucumbers for weeks. I don't see that. I don't see where the little tomatoes went. Anyway, blah blah blah. I swear there's topics. Let's go. There's wind out here, so the crazy's back. You know, our 2 days of reprieve is gone. Sorry, noise. We were 2 days in between, weather patterns, and now we're a day and a half, and so there we go. So the new weather pattern has arrived. Or oh man, let's go. Topic are we gonna do part 2 of are we gonna do part 2 of gals and prepper mags? Ugh, jeez, that hour went fast. I looked at the clock and it was only 7. It's already a lot later than that. Yeah, the trees definitely need it. Gals and prepper mags is interesting, as we talked about in part 1. Since I got all the spicy stuff out of the way, nobody got too terribly mad at me. Maybe part 2 can be a little bit more pragmatic. I didn't go after all the low-hanging fruit, like, their bug out bags can't be as heavy. That's obvious. Or they can't. They carry different things in their bug out bags. We didn't talk about that. It's kind of obvious. Gals, you got the hygiene products and stuff. All that you don't have to prep with guys around. And then you have all the obvious things, like they might want to eat the same things, but they might want to eat different things. Hold on, I'll get the garden hose to stop hissing at me. I better water this one. Some of these are looking a little rough. It's not super hot out. It's just been like super clear skies. Gals are also a lot pickier about food. But what I will tell you is, while they're pickier about food, when they get hungry, they will not be picky about food anymore. So I think that's interesting. That might seem kind of obvious, but I would say it's not. It's not, because during peacetime, they will be very, 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 very picky about food, and even water, actually. They might not like water, right, in peacetime, and they might want their Diet Coke or whatever. But once things start popping off, they'll drink water. But during peacetime, it can be really, really hard to get a gal to drink water at all. they don't like water, and then they complain about headaches all the time. It's like, well, you're not drinking any water, so you're gonna get headaches, princess. Something I maybe didn't touch on as much as I wanted to. Come on, hose. It's gonna not be funny probably. Is shit. I forgot it. We were talking about trees, no water, headaches. No, damn it. Why am I talking to you all like I'm talking to guys right now? I guess maybe, gals, if you're listening to this, like, drink more water. But the problem is, like, gals can't carry as much. So I don't even know how gals are going to carry a lot of water. So water is shockingly heavy, to the point to where, if you have a get home bag or a bug out bag, gals just aren't going to be carrying that much water. You're still going to need to carry a filter, some way to carry water. But if your bug out route or get home route doesn't include stopping for water, you're going to be hurting and you're going to be cramping. Gals be cramping. If you're a guy, if you don't understand what that means, gals have cramps. And they need water and they need potassium, or they'll cramp up and you'll be carrying them. So there's that. Ask me how I know that. Crap, why can't I completely lost my train of thought there. They're not necessarily any less physical than guys. Like, gals can be very, like, their physicality, like, they do work, they can work their asses off if they want to. They can be very athletic. They can be very competitive, certainly, almost to a fault. I don't know if this video is going to work out. The wind is kind of cray-cray, so I don't know if this video is going to work out, but we're gonna try. There's a lot of things that gals are good at. I'd say better at than guys. Their empathy is ramped up to 11. Again, almost to a fault, because that can be taken advantage of. And I'll just say, like, gals are taken advantage of really, really, really easily, and that's one of the biggest bummers. Is, as a guy, you're constantly protecting gals from, well, really themselves, if I'm being honest, because they will, if they take things at face value, which other guys know that they'll take things at face value, they can get ambushed very, very, very easily. Also, as they're gals and tend to not be in as many dangerous situations, they may not be able to handle their adrenaline as well, and their adrenaline dumps can be completely crippling after a traumatic experience. But that can happen to guys too. Sorry, I'm saying a lot. Some of you don't, well, I've heard feedback in the past that some of you don't like the empty space, but I'm also a little groggy right now. It's been a hell of a day. What was I going to say about gals? I mean, this whole thing's about gals, obviously. They use each other. They abuse each other. Children are often trafficked by family. Those family are often Gals. Gals will absolutely traffic other gals. Kids might trust a mag with a gal in it, assuming the gal's not a psychopath. Statistically, it's what, like a 1 in 10 that the gal's a psycho. It's a low number, but it's not zero. Gals can absolutely be brutal psychopaths and victimize the living hell out of each other, which is weird. But again, gals tend to hate each other anyway, and they'll justify their stupid bullshit with the smallest nonsensical excuses to, I don't like the shoes she was wearing, or I don't like the top she was wearing. And gals will just, gals are brutal. I've seen gals rip each other down constantly because, a gal had a bigger chest and her shirts rode a little different, and she would wear a little bit different shirts. And the other gals in the office were just brutal towards her. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. So, and I think, hopefully I remember the rest of what I wanted to say, but kind of to that point, it's why you got to treat prepping in a lot of ways like it's an office job in terms of the politics. The politics are very much like an office job. You got to get along with each other. Hold on, I'm going to flip this upside down and hopefully not screw it up. Actually, I had my mic upside down. The light was in my face. It's kind of cold again. I guess the sun, just barely dipped down below the clouds, and all of a sudden it drops 10 degrees. It was really warm out here. Now it's pretty chilly. I should have got out here 45 minutes ago. I fucked that up. I spaced out. Food. Weight. And I'm gonna ignore the fact that gals have a challenge once a month. I think the reality is that they really can choose whether or not to be a psycho bitch for a month or for a week out of the month. They can, they just usually don't want to. They ride that high, and they don't like to admit it, but they ride that high being a fucking cunt. So that's a thing. They don't all do that though. And I think the ones that don't do that will be more honest that that's a thing that happens. Also, what I don't know prepping with gals is I don't know how that's gonna be when gals run out of their birth control medicine. And I don't mean that from all of a sudden them not being the bunker slut anymore. That is not it. If guys don't know what the hell I'm talking about, a lot of gals are on birth control for one reason or another. Some of them all the way as young as teenagers. I mean, they throw teenagers on birth control, and they have been for a long time. Not because I'm a weirdo. I was a teenager, so I'm aware of that. I was a teenager, so keep that in mind. And there's a lot of things that happen. There's a lot of things that change when they're off the birth control. Not just able to have kids. It's a lot more than that. It regulates their I'm not a doctor. It regulates something. My brain is slop right now. So there's that. There's also a little diddly-do hoopa-joop. Getting into female reproductive stuff here is not something I expected to get into on this episode, but here we are. There's a hoopajoop that I'm not going to explain because I'm not a doctor. And that thing has to come out sooner or later. And that could be really interesting too. Fucking Cessnas. You're violating my airspace. I can't concentrate. That has to come out sooner or later. It loses its effectiveness. I can't remember how many years it is, but it loses its effectiveness. And I wouldn't take that out without a gynecologist doing it. And what you also, they're fucking Cessnas, man. It's arcing right over my damn house. Go away. And what you have these days is lots and lots of perverted doctors. They're catching perverted doctors left and right that are doing things to young girls that they shouldn't be. Like child doctors that are maintaining being doctors for those children for a while, and they're able to just keep that abuse going. They're finding out about them, and because parents just they trust the doctor. And in this one instance, I saw the doctor got the child's phone number somehow and just stayed in contact with that child for years. It was ludicrously inappropriate. So my point to that is that, you know, if you have a so-called doctor in the group, or someone who claims to be a doctor, especially you moms out there, I would hope your mom radar would go off and be like, something ain't right with that boy, or something ain't right with that doctor. Because you're going to get shit like that. You're going to get people pretending to be doctors because they're going to want to get into the group. They're going to be like, oh, you've got a bunch of children here, and all of a sudden you've got Dr. Diddler making up medical bullshit because they're a fucking pervert. And I think, again, that's why this whole thing wasn't to like knock gals and prepper groups. It's that there's tons of considerations with having prepper gals. Prepper gals, they wear additional clothing, right? They take additional medicines. They have different hormones. It's not just like the psychological stuff. There's a lot of physicality to it too that I hadn't really thought about when I was doing version 1 or part 1, because in part 1 I was thinking a lot about how the interpersonal relationships work, and how you end up with the bunker whore that wants to fuck every dude in the bunker and then pit everybody against each other, and they're just conniving Machiavellian psychopaths, which I don't understand why that is, but gals do be like that. And then all of a sudden, there's a second gal in the bunker, and they can't stop fighting. They can't stop making the guys fight, and it's just a constant fucking problem. Oh, those apples need to be pulled. Fuck this wind, though. Yeah, so I think my point to part 1 is if you missed part 1 because you just don't like listening to more, because you're treating this like a news show and not analysis and discussions. Part 1, the basis is like you shouldn't have gals in a mag of guys. It just fucks things up too much. The likelihood of guys being professional enough to be able to keep their testosterone bullshit in check is just not there. And you go, oh, they've got a wife. Oh, it doesn't fucking matter. Oh, she's got a husband. It doesn't fucking matter. I wish that shit mattered. It doesn't. It doesn't. even in normal times. That doesn't matter, and it should. So in a lot of the groups that I was a part of, Fuzzy Monster. In a lot of the groups I was a part of, they started just banning gals. Not because they were sexist, because it was just too many fucking problems. Problems with the gals and problems with the... There's the second one! Problems with the gals and problems with the guys. And some of those sluts are still have, you know, I call it fucking your way up the ladder. Have fucked their way up the ladder. And it's just so disgusting. And they are the upper echelons of not preppers, but just like, well, conservative groups, period. Like conservative groups, period. Because I was talking about like gun bunnies, like range bunnies, and that's right. That's where I stopped the last episode, is running around, you know, the range in their yoga pants, their tight yoga pants. Which again, like gals like to have their little battle uniforms, and I don't actually hate that, because if they're doing range shit, and if they're usually wearing leggings when if they're EDCing leggings, and they're wearing the kind of leggings that have a gun, we'll just call it a pistol pouch in it anyway. Like I don't hate gals at the range with the yoga pants and stuff, but that's usually not what it is. Usually they're at the range whoring it up. And it's just like, it's distracting. And if you're going to the range, you should be comfortable. I don't know. And I'm not saying there needs to be gal ranges and guy ranges, but I will say a lot of gals are way more comfortable being trained by other gals if the gal is a competent trainer. And this is the same thing like with gals picking out gun clothes. You know, like they should be picking out gun clothes that other gals can attest to being decent. Because there's just a lot of considerations. Gals, they could have shorter legs. You know, they could have all kinds of different proportions, and you can't just buy them, you know, jeans and a t-shirt and say, you know, good luck. You know, gals are just very, very, they come in all the shapes and sizes. And it's like, just back to the backpack point, and I apologize, I can't remember if it was Tiggs or who brought that up, but you know, gals are potentially going to be wearing a different backpack. They're going to be wearing different leggings. They're going to be definitely wearing different shoes or boots, for sure. And so they're going to be training different too. You know, they might want to train with their pistol in their purse, for example, which is very problematic. Because if it's in their purse, it's not necessarily on them, because if someone's going to grab their purse. And I can't even tell you how many kids have dug in purses and end up shooting their mom, or shooting themselves, or shooting their brothers and sisters. Guns and purses are just really problematic. Convincing gals to carry is already hard enough, because they think they shouldn't have to, even though they know they have to. And they're really, and I think I hope that gals are starting to get this more, that there are places in the house. It doesn't necessarily have to be in the kitchen, but there are places in the house, or in a very secured inner perimeter. And I think that's why mentally their brain is telling them that they shouldn't have to carry, because they shouldn't have to go out to begin with, right? They should be in the castle. The women should be in the castle. right? In the inner protected area, where security is a little bit of a different consideration, because guys should be patrolling and having to potentially dispatch people and not have to explain themselves later. And that's another problem, is sometimes guys have to do things that gals really don't like, that gals really don't approve of. Did you really? And how many times did you really have to do this? Did you really have to do that? It's like, I don't know. Do you really want to be safe? Do you really want to be safe from these guys? Do you want these murdering psychopaths? I mean, that's the thing. So, like, there was this near me-ish, sort of, in a roundabout kind of way. This guy, this feral psychopath, bashed a gal's head in with a propane tank. And it's very violent, brutal psychopath, and he shouldn't have been out to begin with. They caught him because he almost set a homeless. He almost set in a homeless, low income. You can look for it in my posts. I posted on YouTube. He almost set a homeless apartment complex on fire. No, fuck, low income. You know what I mean. He set a low-income apartment complex on fire, and that would have killed hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people. And even though I can't stand homeless people, I don't think burning them all alive is necessarily the answer. If they weren't doing drugs, and if that was, clean living, clean, safe living, especially for gals, I don't know. I don't know all I know is he was setting the place on fire. And I was like, why didn't SWAT just bring a silenced 22 and turn the cameras off and put him out of his misery? But if you told gals that, he was a human being, he's a human being. Well, do you care about your fellow gals getting bashed their fucking heads in with a propane tank? Because that's what this guy did. He bashed a gal's head in with a propane tank. We need to have the emotional intelligence to be like, all right, that guy is dangerous. Right. And gals will be like, well, if he did that to my kid, I'd XYZ. Okay, but what if he did it to your sister? Like, that gal was somebody's sister, or somebody's daughter, or somebody's mother. Even if she's homeless, that doesn't mean that, like, it should be okay for someone to bash her head into the propane tank. Well, maybe no, there's nothing you can do the guy is just a lunatic, right? And people are like, oh, there's nuance, there's context. No, there's not. There's not. The context is the guy's a psycho feral, okay? That's the context. And sometimes gals need to let step back and let guys be guys. Let guys do the guy things, and be the man. Do the things that gals won't do. If gals aren't going to be executioners when it's overwhelmingly appropriate, then I just don't know. And yet you've got gal judges, which is just nuts to me. Not that gals can't be judges, but it's just like, they've got these people who prey on women, and then you've got a gal judge. It's like, even the gal judge isn't going to be like, no, we should execute this guy. Because they're all compromised too. And gals can be compromised. Right? All right, we're gonna go water the blueberries now. I'm just getting the hose out lined up. Gals can be compromised. That's the thing. Like, they can be swayed. They can be they can be convinced to switch sides. Right? They can be compromised. And there's a lot of compromised female judges that would sell out women, right? Just like there's trafficking women that traffic children. There's women that are being trafficked that victimize other women. It's crazy. Depending on how much they were abused as a kid, or they would rather be in charge of it. I mean, look at Gilly. Look at Gilly Maxwell. And there's other examples. Ah, crapola. There's other examples too. Come on, hose. Come on, hose. There we go. I know this is very, very funny that I have a garden hose. I'm not calling gals. If you're new here, I'm not calling gals hose. I have my garden hose with me. I do not trust some of the people here. I do not trust that there's at least 2 or 3 tweakers up the road still. I do not trust them. Every time I think we're rid of them, it seems like there's more. Maybe that is a different one and he just has a loud Honda. I can't tell. Yeah, so let me try to regain my train of mind here. I think for gals to be successful, they have to have a flat hierarchy, with one gal in charge that has experience. And I don't like, even if it's law enforcement or military experience, that doesn't necessarily mean a lot. Like, if I was gonna like hire a gal to be in charge of a mag, I think I would want her to be like a gal who's in charge of like a victims unit, or a gal that was a doctor, or like in charge of like managing an office, or managing a fuck, my brain is turning into jello. Managing a hospital or something. I would want a gal with management experience, not only because she needs conflict resolution skills, as obvious, but because I need somebody who understands the dynamic, that doesn't get sucked down into the dynamic. Someone who can stay above the dynamic, and be objective. To be like, if a gal's walking around with her thong out, without slut shaming, be like, listen, I know you want to walk around with your thong out, but to keep the peace, we need to find like a middle ground. Like, I don't want you to feel like you got to be wearing bed sheets. We're not in a Muslim camp, but sometimes you need to cover up a little bit to not distract the living shit out of everybody. Now, some gals are just really, really well endowed, and they're going to be distracting no matter what. And with their boobas and their bums, and that's when you're going to have to tell the guys, it's like, you guys need to stop chasing after her like a bunch of fish, because that's what fish do. Like, we need to be focusing on survival, not courting Courtney over there. Leave Courtney. Let Courtney decide what Courtney wants to do. Right? Because one of the things that I feel like I talk about a lot, and then I feel like I forget, is that shit is the fan is not a dating game. You're gonna be scared, and you're gonna want to do adult stuff because you're gonna be scared, and those fear pheromones, the fear endorphins, they do get you going a little bit. That's natural, but that doesn't mean that you turn into a rape gang. And you know, like, you're going to be coming out the other end of it, right? And so you have to maintain your cool. And you know, in my books, I know you're like, oh, here he goes talking about his books. In PNW Affliction, I intentionally make a gal or a kid or some kind of a relationship for every single person, because I hate contrived conflict. But in real life, you're gonna have a bunker with like 7 guys and 1 gal, or if you're really unlucky, 7 gals and 1 guy, right? Or you're gonna have sisters and brothers, and the brother's not gonna want their daughter to be dating. The brother's not gonna want their sister to be dating, even though it's their decision. Somebody's honking their horn like crazy, which is weird out here. Let's see what that's all about. I heard a massive explosion last night or 2 nights ago? I heard a massive explosion up there. I was like, oh, that's weird. So, sorry, I'm saying a lot, because I'm trying to maintain my situational awareness and trying to maintain my volume and trying to formulate my thoughts at the same. Oh, that old fuzzy monster! Ba 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 ba! You're lucky the cats aren't here. The cats will get ya. Yeah, I'm saying again, letting you guys know that I'm still here. I'm trying to fill in the windy spaces. Okay, that must have been the car that was honking. Maybe they were just honking goodbye. So, yeah, gals. I think keeping them, if you don't have one that can really like manage the rest of the gals, especially if there's some kind of a den mom, some kind of, you know, matriarch, you know, a nana that can really like be a mom for them and get them all to stop acting like hussies. You're gonna really your mag is gonna really struggle. Guys and gal, I guess maybe here's the crux to the whole thing. Guys and gals really don't grapes. Guys and gals really don't need to be prepping on exactly the same thing, exactly the same ways. They really don't. Like, this is one of the things that used to just boggle my mind. You don't need the gals necessarily learning how to run and gun. They want to sometimes, and it's good practice for them. But gals' voices are higher pitch and they carry like crazy. Gals' voices and children's voices carry like crazy. They have no noise discipline. They don't even understand how far their voices carry. So my voice is low and I'm not projecting it. So hopefully my voice isn't going very far, especially with this hose being white noise. So you notice I keep like modulating my voice over and over again. Gals don't do that. Gals do not do that. They have no awareness. So you can there could be like 11 guys that you can't hear, but you'll hear the gal just blabbing and blabbing and blabbing. You don't know that there's 12 guys there. And I have seen that personally many times. And what'll happen is that gal will draw everybody in with her blabbing. And then they'll run into the guys and there'll be a problem. Guys aren't really aware of this either. It's more of a subconscious thing. Also, guys can key off a gal's pheromones without even knowing it. Or they'll key off the gal's perfume, or they'll key off her deodorant. Perfume, deodorant. They can just key off her sweat. Guys can just key off gal's sweat. They might not even know that they're doing it. Okay, I need to grab those apples so this tree doesn't snap its poor little branches off. It's really struggling. Come here, buddy. Come here, buddy. We're gonna. Oh, you've got 4 apples. We're gonna take care of you. Come here. Hiya. You need to focus on. Fine, I'll leave you 2. I'll take your 2 big ones. You hold on to those, okay, Mr. Apple Tree? How's that? Is that better? Is that a little bit better? Okay. This apple tree is very, very spindly. And it keeps making, the more I water it and the more I take the apples off, the more it makes bigger apples. And just, I thought I saw spindly number 2 over here is even more spindly. And it's got, how many apples do you have, Mr. Spindles? You've got 4. One of these is pretty carved up, so ouch. Whoops. How's that? Is that better, Mr. Spindles? Alright, and if a deer takes care of that little spindly bit, then a deer takes care of that little spindly bit. And that's okay. I still have not eaten a single one of these, and I'm not scared of them. I just don't want to get this holy wind. Alright, fuck it. Let's go water let's go water the back garden and call it a day. Golly, there's more of this pot, expecting gals to split wood, just not practical. Can they? Yes. Practical? No. Expecting gals to build your buildings, it's impractical. Okay, like expecting them to run and gun is just impractical. And it's not that they can't do it, it's just that why would you do that? Like, if you are fighting a war with women, you've lost or you're about to lose. Pah. Like, you can have your gals run radios, although then guys will know if they're listening in that you've got gals. But still, having a gal running a radio is way better. You might be on encrypted comms and it might not matter, but you might be facing another team and not have earpieces in, and then the other team hears a gal come through on the radio, and then you've got a huge problem, because they might not have a gal in their group and you might have a gal in your group, and they might wipe out your whole entire group to get the gal. It's just a mess. Or the gal could be bait. They could, trade you some ammo for a gal, and the gal could be bait. That'd be weird, but I could see that happening. Yeah. I don't know. I had more, but my brain's spacing out. I guess to summarize, I would run it kind of like an office, where you'd have all the gals as a flat hierarchy, and then you'd have the gal that can keep her shit together in charge of the other gals. I wouldn't have a guy in charge of the gals. Gals just aren't going to listen to a guy. They're just not. Like I said, it's the same thing with training. Just like if you have to train a gal how to shoot, having the gal's spouse do it, or having the gal's spouse even anywhere near you, is just not productive. Guys, gals will not listen to their guy trying to explain them how to do something, just because they're just naturally born to just arguing with them and being contradictory. Yes, I'm sorry, gals, it's fucking true though. I see it constantly. They'll say that their husband's not explaining it right, They just don't want to fucking listen. Then they get frustrated, and the guy overstated his abilities, and the gal gets more frustrated, and it's fucking ridiculous. And then the gal or the guy wants to prove himself. The husband wants to, or the boyfriend wants to prove themselves in front of the other guy. This happens at gun stores too. The guy wants to prove that he's not fucking useless, and even though you went to a gun store with the explicit reason to, have the gal talk to somebody who's an expert, the guy is still going to try to assert his dick dominance. I've seen that gun store owners, gun shop owners talk about that all the time. And the husband or boyfriend will want to get them the gun that he wants them to have, not the gun that she wants to have. And the guy can't, the husband boyfriend can't talk any sense into him because their communication's already fucking dog shit. Their relationship's already dog shit. And the best thing you can do is listen to now, are gun shop owners perfect? No, but like the vast majority of the time, if they sell guns to gals a lot, they're going to know what gals like and what gals try to bring back and what gals complain about. Certainly. And so they're going to know what has lower recoil impulse, right? Like, I think I would do a fine job, but that's because I've trained gals how to shoot. I've actually trained quite a few gals how to shoot, younger gals. I've trained younger gals and medium gals, and I haven't trained a lot of older gals, and I would say that's usually because older gals already know how to shoot just fine because they've, but it's also because like if a dad just gets here's the other thing too, if the dad gets frustrated because his daughters aren't doing what he says, he's not going to be effective at teaching his daughters how to shoot either. And obviously if you are a dad, you need to make sure that you're that the shooting instructor is not getting handsy. Despite what all those weird romance movies will tell you, or when they have those like really inappropriate like gooner situations, no, stand like this, oh, grip the pistol like that. You don't have to you don't need to touch the gal to teach her how to shoot. You're on a date at that point. I've never needed to touch a gal to teach her how to shoot. You're on a date at that point, okay? And a lot of that I learned in community response, where we had actual crisis actors, and they taught us how to get, how to work with the crisis actors without touching them for legal reasons. And I worked with young women crisis actors without touching them. I think I've told you guys this story before. Like, it's hard, which was a challenge because they would have to be pretending to be dead and then they'd be in the way, and they could get hurt really bad laying in the way, and you can't touch them. And that's why I'd wished more parents would have been around, so I could have like, hey, whichever parent is in charge, tell, scoot this kid for me, like she's in the way. But they were in the way on purpose. They were in the way on purpose to make it harder. Like it was very realistic training. But I didn't touch her. And then it was like, I think the firefighter came over and did it. He's like, move your patient. I'm like, I'm not allowed to touch the kids. Nobody can. That was the rule. And he just like grabbed the kid and scooted the kid over. He's like, there. I'm like, okay, thank you. Or maybe I went and got a parent. I can't remember. It was a madhouse, though, but in a good way. It was at a fire station. It was crazy. Everybody was safe. There was a million firefighters there. I was in charge of comms. I was in charge of the comms unit. Actually, I did really, really well. Yeah, of course now the wind calms down. Yeah, you don't need that's the thing. Like there's so many things that the moms would be good at doing. Like make sure nobody's grooming the kids. Talking to the kids at night, making sure nobody's acting weird. And I know that's like more kid prepping than it is like women mag prepping, but the women really can be like the eyes and ears, because kids are little truth hounds anyway. Like they don't have much that in the way of survival, so kids can lie really well, but kids are also little bullshit detectors too. And so if something's popping off, like the kids will tell you, the kids will know, because that's their survival, right? And gal survival is really about keeping the house, keeping the bunker in order. And part of keeping the bunker in order, unless you've got a bunch of nanas running around, is keeping the kids safe. So just like you don't want the kids running and gunning, except as a last resort, you don't want the moms, the women, the gals running and gunning, unless it's a last resort. Now, do gals make good snipers? Yeah, I guess I didn't get into that. Gals make insanely good snipers once they're conditioned, which doesn't take much. My wife can outshoot me, no problem. Most of the gals that I've trained outshoot me, no problem. It's absurd. Gals have a crazy propensity for accuracy, heart rate, breathing. They can take instruction if you give them good instruction. I imagine likewise gals would make really good drone pilots too. Radio operators. I mean, how many gals do you think are in charge of 911 operators? It's got to be a massive number, right? They can, once they stress acclimate, they can be great in stressful environments. I mean, they give birth and have kids, and they're doctors and nurses. I mean, they can handle stress. They just have to acclimate to it. And that's the thing, kind of going back to one of my earlier points, is that gals these days haven't been stress acclimating. Since they haven't been stress acclimating, unless they've been in a really stressful situation 2 or 3 times, they can be the most hardcore chick on the planet, until they have an adrenaline dump. So let's take like a quick 5-minute break. BRB. Whoops, I accidentally made this a part 2. I didn't go for a walk because I'm wearing the wrong shoes. I'm wearing my slippers. I don't want to break my freaking ankles out there. And I definitely would. I've absolutely hurt my tendons horrifically bad a couple times. Wearing my flip-flops out there. I'm not making that mistake again. I mean, obviously I just did, but I didn't go for like a crazy walk. Trying to wrap my thoughts up here. I didn't want to make this a second video. It's going to be a little annoying, but that's okay. Uno momento. So I don't know. Does that kind of wrap up my thoughts on the whole thing end to end? Can a gal run a chainsaw? Sure. Would I be having her run a chainsaw all day? No. Like, there's if you have your homestead set up properly, there's so many like safer things a gal can do. Like, she can be inside the perimeter working on the garden. She can be inside the perimeter watching cameras, documenting and recording, listening to radios. If you had an inside shop, she could be inside working on vehicles, right? Like, she can be welding. She can be. Would you have her repairing fence? I mean, if it's inside the perimeter and like secure and you've got patrols, those are things that you need to think about. But if you're letting gals out of the house, I wouldn't let them outside the perimeter. Like, their goal is the house and in the inner perimeter. And as a guy, your AO is the outer perimeter and patrol. And their job is to keep noise discipline down, which means their own and their kids. And, you can also put them in charge of rationing the food and loading mags, like food preservation. There's just a million things that gals can do that is more safer. Gals are just they're worth their weight in gold in shit it's the fan. And I don't just mean because you're going to need them to repopulate sooner or later. They just have a different set of skills. Like, empathy is really important in shit it's the fan. You need both. You need logic and you need empathy. You need both. You can't have a purely logical, pragmatic system, right? There's going to be times where our humanity will start to just slip away if you have nothing but guys running around. But you have nothing but women running around, you're going to have some kind of a funky Amazon thing going on. And yeah, I think gals are going to end up being like the arbiters of the inner workings of the security and processes and protocols, and they're going to be in charge of like the inner security. So like, if something's going on they don't like in the inner security, in the inner perimeter, and I don't mean a gal, they don't like what a gal's wearing, although like they're going to be in charge of the inner harmony, but that means they got to keep their shit together too. And gals are gonna or guys are gonna have to mostly deal with that. Likewise, guys are going to be in charge of the outer security, and if there's react to contact, the gals shouldn't be backseat quarterbacking, external react to contact. And I think there's going to need to be like a guy and a gal that are able to communicate with each other to kind of bridge those two things. But the gals are going to need to make, the guys need to make sure they're not undermining the gals constantly, and the gals need to make sure they're not undermining the guys constantly. And the guys are out there doing patrols, and the gals are running around naked, splashing each other in the river while the guys are trying to do their patrol. Like there was just that's why I fucking hate The Walking Dead. There was just like so much weird like sexual tension in Walking Dead. Like, immediately it's just like, give me a fucking break. We're just like diving right into this. And a guy's being creepy, and so the other guy's gotta do something, but then the other guy goes overboard, then the chicks get all upset. It's just like, fuck off. Walking Dead is just like so many plot contrivances for just fucking weirdos. And you're not going to run into a weirdo like every fucking day. And I feel like if you did run into a weirdo every fucking day, sooner or later, the guys are just going to start executing every fucking weirdo. Because the guys are just going to get tired of it. Guys are going to get tired of it. And our gal's going to try to like fuck their way up the ladder to secure their place in the mag. Yeah, probably, but it's up to guys to not like succumb. Aha, I made a pun. You know, guys are gonna have to deal with that. Like having gals fuck their way up the ladder is something that the guys need to also be like, no, like this shit is just not happening. And they seem to do that like in movies and stories. They seem to do that more when it's more of a nomadic group, and I call it cave gal culture. You know, the gal wants to stay in the cave where the shelter is. And the guy thinks that he's owed it or something because he's the biggest guy or whatever. It's just like when you're hunkered down, when you're in a farmhouse, a bunker or something. Our gal's going to be whoring their way up the line, trying to stay inside. I think they will. I think they will try, and I think guys have to. That's why a guy has to put, I think, a gal in charge of the inside, and not have a guy running inside. You know, I think I'm repeating myself at this point. But you know, you still train the gals in weapons and CQB and knives and give them all the same tools. The food, you know, you've got, I guess going back to the whole stuff, you know, you've got like iron. Gals may need more iron. Like they're so that, you know, so they might need more food. Like they might need more protein. Especially if they do start popping kids out. Like there's going to have to be some nutritional shit, and that could cause more drama. But again, if you've got somebody like, you know, a Nana in charge, or a, what are they called? Midwife, half wife, half life. Somebody in charge of like rationing the food and stuff that can like figure that, and then tell the guys, you know, how much food they need to bring back and how much food they need to preserve. Like you can make it work, but by and large, it is still going to be, you know, keeping the guys separated from the gals. And so if the Nana, we'll just call her the Nana or the den mom. You know, if the den mom tells the guy that's in charge of the security patrol that, you know, Carl keeps coming around trying to get his dick wet because, you know, Susie's over there looking all cute, they're going to have to keep that shit under control, because that could compromise like the whole entire unit. Like they can be a couple, you know, but like if there's jealousy, it has to get squashed. If she's flirting with other guys, it's got to be squashed. Like those relationships have to just be like crazy managed, because jealousy is just like such a real fucking backbreaker, group breaker. And you're gonna have frumpy gals that are just gonna be pissed off about the whole thing, and the frumpy gal is gonna be pissed at the hot gal, and the ditzy gal is gonna have no idea what's going on. And yeah, it's just like, I don't know. I hope this covers everything, and I think I'm trying to figure this out. For to wrap this up, you know, gals, you don't have to prove yourselves trying to join a mag. your primary thing is, there to learn. And if guys start correcting you and stuff, if they ask you a question, then immediately correct you, and they're just more concerned about being right, it's okay to leave, And I would start with churches, and I would start with gal only groups at churches, and really see kind of how everybody synergizes, how the gals all synergize, who they look up to, who the bad bitch is, so you can stay off the witch list, which churches have. Churches have those too. What's the other, like, gals just don't need to prove themselves, and guys don't need to just make them feel wrong all the time. Guys have this like superiority complex where they just get off on making gals feel wrong and stupid. And honestly, it's not hard to make gals feel wrong and stupid. Gals are wrong and stupid constantly. Like, it's nothing to be a dick about. Because the reason why I say that is because guys do wrong, stupid stuff too. But then all of a sudden their ego is damaged, and then you're back to the ego problem, like I was talking about with part 1. And there's nothing more ineffective than a guy with a damaged ego. Just fucks everything up. Ego is like an insane group killer. So gals don't really. Your job is to learn and figure out what works. Figure out where your weaknesses are, so you can. Like, maybe it's fire starting. Should a gal learn how to start a fire? Yeah, because you might be needing to get the stove going. And learning how to get a fire started consistently is a bitch, even in a wood stove. Something my wife's gotten really good at, and something, she's practiced more than me now as an adult, and I'm used to stoves that go the other direction, and she's good at it. She's good at getting fires going, and also I don't criticize how she gets her fires going. So, I think, I don't know. I think that gals need to learn this stuff. I just think they need to learn it for different reasons. More so that they're aware of it. Because should a gal learn how to clear a house? If it's her own house, she should learn how to clear her own house. If gals are going to be driving around, they should learn how to react to contact from vehicle, and they should learn ambush and counter ambush, because you might have the gal be the driver for the mag. Like, if you've got a 3-man male team and your 4th man is a gal, chances are she's going to be the driver, right? You're not going to have her running and gunning, because if a guy gets injured, she's got little girl muscles. She's not going to be dragging a full-grown man in armor and mags back to the fucking convoy. It's just not realistic. So I'm not even gonna entertain that. So you're gonna have her be the driver, where she's keeping the car running, she's looking around, she's not running. She might have a pistol or a rifle, but she's not running and gunning. She's in the vehicle, maintaining the vehicle, not letting anybody else get close to the vehicle, in case the security team is taking contact from one side. She might pop somebody coming in from the other direction trying to steal the vehicle in some kind of a distraction. If she does have to leave the wire for some reason. But overall, if you're going to pull security, having a gal on the security team, unless you think you're going to be interacting with like traumatized women or traumatized children, you just don't need to be bringing a gal along, except as a last resort. But if you would, I would have her as the driver. So gals should be learning offensive and defensive driving, and they should be able to handle their adrenaline. And they need to learn how to react to contact from vehicles. But again, then that vehicle is more kind of like their like tiny home, right? That vehicle becomes their castle, and it's the guy's job to keep that vehicle safe, keep that castle safe, for the gal to be inside and operate. And then the guys need to not criticize, because when you criticize a gal, you're just like ripping her down. giving a gal constructive criticism is like insanely difficult. You just can't say, "Oh, you cunt, knock your fucking shit off." Most gals don't take that very well until they hang out with the guys long enough to realize the guys are just constantly giving each other shit. And then a gal gives a guy shit, and then it just knocks their ego down, and then they're fucking useless. Like I said, PNW Gorilla talks about this shit a lot. He talks about it way more eloquently than I do. Sometimes. You can have the gals in charge of the 3D printers, and in charge of the cameras, and in charge of the food, in charge of food preps, in charge of the gardening, like in charge of home repairs and welding, and then you have the guys patrol and forage, right? Like pulling security. It's just, it might seem like common sense, but in this woke era of everybody needing to do everything, or you might just be so short-handed that you have to. But if you're sending your gals out of the wire, they got to be prepped and trained. And that means that mistakes are going to be made, and they have to be able to learn those mistakes in a safe environment, and they have to learn about those mistakes without guys being raging dicks about it. And again, that's the problem. Like, my mom didn't let me make mistakes, right? She didn't let me slip up. And like, she just micromanaged the fuck out of me. And it didn't help me. It took me a long time to deprogram myself. And so you're going to end up with guys that are going to need to be deprogrammed from crazy relationships. You're going to have gals that need to be deprogrammed from crazy relationships. And if every guy in your mag is trying to fuck her, it's not going to be a healthy mag, right? For the guys or the gals, or the kids. And I think these days, there's too many people off their meds. There's too many people with just fucked up childhoods. I mean, shit that you can't. You've got like children being abused at such insanely young ages now, that are growing up just absolute basket cases. You've got kids that grew up, or the kids that were born like from drugs and stuff. Like, you've got to be empathetic of all of this. And it's a lot. So having the camp counselor, having the mag counselor to navigate all this, or some kind of pastor, somebody, some kind of matron, some kind of nana, somebody to help y'all navigate this, and then have them give like the considerations for like how to navigate these things. Because they're like, if you're going to be taking people in that are just completely off, and then you're going to have people that just aren't right, that need to be, taken on the one-way hunting trip. And you need to have like the emotional intelligence to be able to figure all that out and be right about it afterwards, because gals are counting on guys to do that. They're not going to like it. Gals will sit there and be like, I don't like that, but it's their job. It's their job to not like it. They don't have to like it. But they might have to live with it. And you might not always make the right decision, and they're going to remind you constantly. That's something you have to live with. But like, things are. My point to all this is, things are already really bad now. Really bad. There's people trying to steal children out of the streets, out of those stroller things, ripping kids right out of at their parents' hands almost on a daily basis. This shit like is already really bad. It's already really bad, and I want people to realize that it's only going to get worse. You need to have the emotional intelligence, and you need to have the communication skills to be able to articulate if you're hurting and why, and to be able, have the color crayons in case other people can't articulate it. Anyway, I'm rambling now. I know this is like pretty crazy. It gets into really dark territory, but we're already there. We're already past it. Their children are already being trafficked, and those children that have been trafficked are in their 20s and 30s now, and those trafficked children are having children. Like, people need, we as a society just can't push these things under the rug any longer. I know it's impolite in conversation, but gals need to realize that there's bad guys out there, really, really bad guys. And guys need to realize that, like, we're not going to have a society of innocent women and children left after this if these psychopaths aren't managed, because judges, the cops are arresting them. This is not the cops' fault. The cops are arresting them. The judges are letting them right back out. They're saying they're unfit to even stand trial. And then they might spend a little bit in a mental hospital, quote unquote, and then all of a sudden they just quietly release. Here in the Pacific Northwest, they have like Pedo Island, and from that Pedo Island, they have like pedo mansions. These are 100% real. You can look them up. They're just kind of off the radar, and this pedophilia is just like endemic across the entire planet. And as much of a not fun subject this is, the point is that guys and gals need to be on board with security, empathy, communication. Start to just address these things, because it's already this bad now. That's my point. It's already this bad now. Trafficking is already this bad now. Like, the time to form mags and start to figure all this shit out is now. Right? We are in it now. This is shit, it's the fan now. And it has been for a while. If you don't believe me, just every single night check the news in the Pacific Northwest or any blue city. It's this bad now. We're here because of the judges, senators, legislators. It's this bad now. And guys and gals need to come together and put their stupid petty bullshit aside to figure out how to secure their house, secure their perimeter, make secure trips to the store. Don't fuck around. So, yeah. I know this is kind of dark. I apologize. Like, subscribe, and tell your friends, and buy my books. And I apologize that this shit's so dark. I hate talking about this stuff, but like, we're there, guys. Like, this is it. This is what the beginning of the end looks like. Okay, so the fact that you're a guy or a gal, and you're gonna have guys and gals, and just get your shit together. Okay, get your shit together. I can't think of what else to say. It's nothing against gals. Gals have a place in all this, okay? And guys have a place in all this. You just need to figure it out. Stop Stop making it about fucking. Get past your dog shit gals, get past your dog shit communication skills. And guys, get past your fucking egos. And gals, maybe don't dress like giant whores all the time. It's distracting. But guys and other gals, don't be pissed at gals for dressing all fucking cute. Gals are like birds. They like to look pretty. They like to feel pretty. Fucking get over it. Who cares if that gal's getting all the attention? Fucking get over it. It's not a damn beauty contest. Stop being so, like, if you want to be competitive, work out a little bit more. Do a little bit more cardio. Like, gals can be attractive in lots and lots of different ways. You know, you don't have to be like the hottest, youngest gal. You don't have to cake on layers and layers and layers of makeup. You don't have to be worrying about attracting guys 24/7. And guys, you don't have to worry about attracting gals 24/7. Just like, if all of you would just be the best you can be, you're gonna attract the right person. You know, it's gonna be out on the job, it's gonna be at the grocery store. Some mega hot chick is gonna be like, oh, can you reach that for me, big boy? And then she grabs your crotch, and then you're like, hell yeah. Anyway, I'm kind of being silly now, but you know, like my point is like, be the best you can be, right? Wear clothing appropriate for what you're doing. Don't go out into the bush in clothes that aren't protective. I don't know. Wear protective clothing. Wear hats. You know, wear hats. I don't know. It's about survival, not hooking up. And I say that to both sides. Anyway, I'm rambling, and like, subscribe, and tell your friends, and buy my books. And I hope this is well received. This is a little less harsh than I think first, the part one of this, but anyway, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.
She rolled up sleeves, let down hair, tied boots and a dress. Read the marks by the fence line, learned where to stand and trust. Took lessons from the hard years, kept her chin up, eyes clear. If the world came knocking mean, she'd be ready right here. She learned to move like lightning, keep her breath slow and low. Every lock on the gates, every path she ought to know. Mama Bear, hold the line. Mama Bear, teach her how. Mama Bear, keep us safe right here, right now. Mama Bear, hold the line. Tell her. Mama Bear, teach her how. Stand her ground. The porch with a red handbook, she showed a girl the grip. How to stay calm under pressure, how to keep a steady wrist, how to clear each corner, how to watch what's out of sight, how to keep your feet beneath you when the night gets tight. She said, girl, don't you panic if fear starts talking loud. Look around, breathe deep, and move through the crowd. Mama Bear, same gate, same morning sun, with her mama's steady lessons and a promise when it's done. Not for fighting any trouble, just to guard what they've made. A home built on hard work and the love that made it stay.